because the fact is we could probably get swept away in talking
Oh,
about the
100%.
movies because like yes, I mean it's tonight. I'm pretty excited. I know it's a 3 hour movie, but like I just want to go see how much, yeah, I just want to go see how woke the Odyssey has become. So,
Yeah, basically. It's crazy seeing how we went from the excitement and then we just like hit a point and now all of a sudden Christopher Nolan's gone woke and I'm just like, is this
it's
how
just
the
because I
conversation is going now?
yeah, I think that just my personal opinion is there are people that are just so fundamentally unhappy they don't want to see anyone else happy. And
100%.
like in order for now it's like I want you to be as miserable as me and this is how I'm going to go about doing it. And this is like my mom and dad never gave me positive attention and reinforcement. So the only way I know how to get attention is through negative, and that's how I'm just perpetual 2 year olds like just
Yeah.
throwing a temper tantrum and bad attention, like they always say, bad attention is still attention. And yeah, but yes, very excited about seeing the Odyssey tonight. But we are here to talk about House of the Dragon season 3 episode 4 called Tumbleton.
Yes.
Tumbleton. Initial thoughts before we go into the recap here.
My initial thoughts were it was a fine episode. I think the criticisms that people brought last week could more
Okay.
accurately be given to this one. I
Okay.
think last week's episode was very, very good. The dialogue, the emotions, and just the fallout or whatever from everything that happened from Rhaenyra's ascension. This episode was a continuation of all of that, but just not as good. Not bad,
Right.
but this is not one of those episodes where I walked away like, whoa,
Right.
that is crazy.
Right. I think we really only got one really good defining insight
Yes.
in the show, and that would be Ormond, but we're going to get to
Yes.
him. So again, once again, the opening, we have the tapestry has changed again. It is added. I don't know what it exactly added.
Yeah,
It
I
shows like
wasn't
the
sure. I was hoping you
whispering,
knew.
and I don't know if it's whispers of like just her, like how bad it's about to go or
Yeah.
whatever. And we got the rat again. And but basically, we've got the Greens are forcing their way into Tumbleton. We get up close and personal with Ormond from the backside. Well, he's hearing complaints from the lords of the house that he's taken over. I mean, like up close, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't need like.
Yeah,
I
that
just had my
was
colonoscopy this past weekend. I didn't need like to be reminded.
Yeah, that they held that fr the camera was closer than it needed to be and they held it for a second and I was like I'm used to seeing nudity in this show, but I was like
Sure,
that one just like zoomed in and held it for a minute.
not only held but like no, but like we're not opposed to seeing butts, like I
Yeah.
mean, and good looking butts. I mean, clearly the man is in shape. I mean, when you
Yeah.
see the front of him, we don't see the fully the front, but I mean, like when we see the front of, clearly this, he's in shape. But I was afraid of him bending over. I didn't need to see like
And you wouldn't put it past them either, because like
no,
they're a show that would do that. Look at what we got the first 15 seconds of Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
I
Like,
don't like, sir, you know, like I was just like, we're there a little too long, and he started to bend, and I thought, that's enough.
yeah.
We're all right. So we get up close. And he finds out that the Baratheons still aren't showing up. Basically, we're reminded that Lord Baratheon cannot read, that he sends back his pictures
Yes.
as his communique. Um, but we do start to see little glimpses that he is wound very tight. He's also warned about the lack of Vagar and Aemon showing up. He's very precise, he's very persnickety. But this is the character that we start, him and his relationship with Darren is what we start to really get a glimpse of
Yes.
in this episode. The very, very, very small council is debating why Tumbleton is even being held. Um,
Yeah.
or Weil suggests, well, hey, the Rivermen are on their way here. Why don't we just send them up there and kind of root out the Hightowers instead of, because they know that basically Ormond's holding Tumbleton because it is a House Black stronghold, or at least high House Black favorable place,
Yes.
and that staying there is either is doing two things. It's taking away um a place that is loyal to her, and he's wanting to tempt her to rain fire upon her
He's
own
playing
instead.
chicken with her
Right.
because he knows the other houses are watching.
Right, exactly. So they know that, so they're trying to figure out, and Orwell suggests, hey, send the Rivermen up there. They can root out how, like she says, they can knock door to door and get these guys out.
Yeah.
Um, and that will send the bastard riders to kind of keep vigil over the city and make sure that they're not doing anything untoward towards the small folk in the meantime. And it's noticeable that Corlys is not sitting there and he's missing.
Corliss, I understand you're upset, but and this kind of goes back to what we talked about last week, where people kind of just disrespecting Rhaenyra. I'm not saying that she should behead this man because you already have a very a smaller council than you need. You don't need to go behead the hand. But the church guys disrespecting you, Corliss disrespected you. Like at some point, and again, I'm not saying just start stabbing and chopping people's heads off,
Sure.
but you need to let people know that there are consequences
Yeah, and
because
she's
you wouldn't do
she
this to anyone else.
yeah, and she's going to let people face the consequences, just the small folk instead of the people that are giving her lip. So I mean, I
Right.
think probably you see towards the end of this that she has had enough of people kind of
Yeah.
um saying things about her and towards her. Um so Massaria suggests Manderley bring him in as master of coin. Everybody can blame him when they discover that there's no money. She does ask Allison about Ormond. She basically says he fancies himself like this intellectual snob, that he's above everybody. He's like this Renaissance man. He's into drawing and poetry or whatever, but that he has a very high opinion about himself. But she also kind of gives a little glimpse because she says that Gwaine has always thought he was cruel.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen that yet, but that's just kind of
Planting the seeds.
right. And they get into the discussion. Rhaenyra asks her, do you regret sending Darren away? And she says, Allison says, I thought it was the one chance that I had to actually save one of the kids to make him a Hightower. Well, that might not be the greatest thing either.
Right.
No, he's going to be a Hightower, all right.
Yeah. And you can see her explaining her logic, and you can see it. Like, yeah, you gave Viserys everything he wanted, children-wise, and you wanted to do this, and obviously you didn't think there'd be a giant civil war and all of that, but you, as she said, like now you start to wonder or question like everything you did to protect him and place him as a high tower, like what good has that done? And
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. So we see Corliss still salty. He basically tells Alan, like, you do it instead. I need to go cut some heads off to deal with the Triarchy who's still, acting a fool over
yeah,
the sea battle. But you go, like, I don't want to keep this from hurting your chances. You go and learn stuff. Like I do get the point that they're trying to also make with Corliss is that he was never a man of counsel. He was a man of action. Like
yeah.
that's where he wants. It's where even in the book they make it very clear that he's just always been more comfortable fighting and exploring and on the sea and just in that role instead of like doing the high lord kind of stuff. But we know he's just being salty right now.
He's being salty, but they do a good job of showing like, yeah, that's where he is more comfortable, similar to how we talked about with Daemon, but Daemon is less self-aware. Daemon wants to be on the council. He wants to be in charge, but in reality, he is a conqueror, not a leader.
Right.
Corliss, they want him on the council and all of that, and he's like, no, I'd rather be out here sailing the seven seas or however many seas they have. But also, we can also add the caveat that he's just a salty individual.
Right. He's just in his feelings right now.
Yeah,
He needs a little time away.
yeah,
Alan needs to hand him a Snickers and so he can just get over it. But we see Aegon and Lara still on their journey and they come across Sunfire. Aegon is convinced he is alive. And we see some guys making coin off of touches on the dragon, which I as this is going to go on as the episode goes on, I think we're going to be shown these people who are cruel towards Aegon. We're building this up. I don't know if it's so much for us to feel bad for Aegon as it is to get the satisfaction when Sunfire is revealed to still be alive and toasts all these people that, have
Yeah.
been.
It- it's just once again going again back to previous episodes of Aegon's lack of awareness, situational awareness, which, like you said,
Right.
growing up as the prince and then king and being protected and given everything he wanted, he thinks he's invincible because, again, there is a situation where Laris is like, dude, we have to go. Like, stop talking to the dead dragon, all of like, and he's like, no, no, leave me alone. And then we'll get to it. But as the episode continues, again, him just like, you got to take a step back, man, and look at, yes, you have the blood of the dragon. You are the former king, whatever. You don't have an army behind you right now. You got a cripple. Like that is your backup.
For somebody that was had to have been drug out from underneath a table to go serve as king, to all of a
Yeah.
sudden be like, I'm the king, and be like, brother, like
Yeah.
you did not even want to be king at one
Right.
point. Like you were like, give it to my
You were willing to
brother.
disappear.
Right. Like, give it to my brother. Like you
Yeah.
yeah, you were trying to physically hide from the throne. So it's very amusing that all of a sudden when it benefits you, you want that power, but you don't actually want to do anything. You just want to ride around on a dragon
Yeah.
and burn people. We see Kristen and Gwaine, they basically get to Harrenhal. They see all the damage that Aemond has done on his way
Yeah.
to from, we know he's still there, but they're told by Alice, is it Alice?
It
Yeah,
is
Alice.
Alice.
Alice, that Aemond isn't there. We know from, if you've seen the previews for the next one, we obviously know that he is there. She's just kind of hoarding him as a way to hoard power because all the Strongs are gone.
Yep.
So she's and like talking and now talking about somebody that else is still bitter. Kristen Cole is still bitter over every apparently highborn that he's ever come across, his family's ever come across. And he basically wants to keep fighting it. Does he have a death wish? Probably.
Does he have a death wish and he realizes he has nothing really to go back to? Sure, you can take your pick, but again, it is it is another man that is salty because he didn't get his way and is angry at women and now angry at everyone, and he's making his problem everyone's problem.
Everyone's problem. Like Wayne was like, listen, we lost,
Yeah,
it's what we do. Well, let's just go back. Let's be with let's be with our families. Let's throw in the towel. What are we doing here? Like we've seen so much death. Let's just like Gwen seems to be right now seems to be one of the only like level-headed people. I mean, I guess Allison is too because she's not really doing anything untoward, but
yeah.
yeah, they're surrounded constantly by these bad actors that they have around them to just keep pressing, keep fighting. So yeah, his death can't come soon enough. I mean,
Yeah.
for I guess everybody. Uh, but we've got Alan and Rhaenyra have a chat. They're talking about their fathers, basically. And you see rats tearing apart of Varys's old model, his old Lego, his Lego
His
model,
Lego set, yeah.
his Lego set. And he suggests bringing in cats. That's
Here's
his.
my thing, and I realized they needed to make him useful because he had
Sure,
established he's not a council guy.
sure.
And maybe you didn't know that cats were hunting mice, but you're telling me that this has been a problem for a while. Like, yes, Rhaenyra inherited the rat problem, but the rat problem has been an issue for a while. And you're saying nobody in the kingdom, except for the sailor, was like, "Oh, we should get cats. Oh, we should get cats." Like,
We should get cats.
nobody else thought of that.
Nope. That is Alan's contribution, and damn it,
Yeah,
he's going to
yeah.
bring peace
He
to
has
the
earned
kingdom
his
now.
spot on the council.
He has just earned his spot on the council.
Speaking
So
of
we see
council, Orwell, that man is just survival by any means. Like,
even
it's
she
good to
says
see
at
like
one
he's
point, yeah, she says, oh, you're a little ruthless there, aren't you?
yeah. That guy, he is like, I mean, he's just always been around, and it shows like he's good at what he does, but it's like no matter who takes the throne, they're like, all right, you. And he's like, yeah, no, no worries. I'll bend the knee
Yeah.
to whomever.
Cue Destiny's Child, I'm a survivor.
Yes.
um,
Uh,
we see Aegon and Laris come to Rook's Rest, find basically a hellhole.
yeah.
Bullies are running it. That they get manhandled by the local bullies. And I think again, once again, I think that all these encounters are to make us cheer when Sunfire is revealed to be alive because I don't know if it's even though he has to kiss the poop boot that we'll talk about later. Like I
Oof.
don't know if he has if like trying to make at least me. I'm speaking from my perspective. Like trying to make me feel bad for Aegon is not is a practice. Is it what is it? A practice in futility or like a work?
It's not
It,
working for me
no,
either.
it's not working. Now, like, would I like to see? Like, do I want to see dragons always like get the bully? Sure, but I like it isn't. I'm not going to be like, oh, I feel so bad for Aegon. It's just you don't
Yeah.
know how to keep your mouth shut. Again, once again, you didn't want to be king when it was too much responsibility, and now that you have lost all of that power, you now want it back. So yeah.
I
So
actually
again,
did appreciate all the well, as I said, this episode to me wasn't as grand as the other ones, but what
sure,
it reminded me of the more I thought about it, seeing the common folk in Tumbleton, seeing these guys at Rook's Rest struggling to survive and the gang essentially that they have made up, it reminded me in a sense of a Night of the Seven Kingdoms episode
sure,
because while you had Rhaenyra and all of the, dragon riders and the big people, a lot of this episode was focusing on the small folk and what
yes,
they are having to do while being stepped on by either side, Team Green or Team Black. It doesn't matter whose side you're on. This episode kind of showed everyone suffering under the boot of the war of dragons. And while
absolutely.
it wasn't the most exciting episode, I did appreciate the scenes we got from Rook's Rest
Oh
and just
yeah.
seeing like this is what happens.
Right. We didn't just move on from Melee's and her dragon crashing into,
Ugh, that hurt to see.
or like Rhaenys and Melee's crashing
Yeah.
into like Rook's Rest, or the dead bodies that, Aemon cooked on the way to Harrenhal.
Yeah.
Like we got to see very street level effects of what this is doing. And I
Yes.
think that's good because where this story is going, and again how you're going to have more and more bigger players fall off the board, off this chessboard, it is going to become a street level almost fight
Yes.
in to where this all ends up. So I think you're right, like it's good in showing us like, well, this dragon didn't just land on Rook's Rest and everybody just moved, like it didn't affect everybody, just I mean, like the dragon's still there, like they
The
haven't even
dragon's
like,
still there. You've got Sunfire. People are charging pennies to touch the dragon. Like this
right,
is all street level stuff that we got to see in this episode, and I
like
appreciated that.
start cutting the dragon though and eat the meat. I mean, like people.
I honestly, that's what I thought when they walked up to it and I saw them with a little bonfire. I thought that's what was going to
I
be
was like,
happening.
nobody should be starving. You guys,
Right.
you got a dragon right there.
We're
Like,
eating
please,
rats. You got dragon meat right there. Can you cut through the
right,
scales?
right there. Just go get it. So we see green soldiers attack Hugh's family, which it's his wife living with her
Her-
brother at the moment. And then we cut to kind of basically Hugh pleading to be sent to Tumbleton instead of because she was originally Rhaenyra was going to send Ulf. She still is going to send Ulf, but she agrees to let Hugh because he says, "I have a stake in this. Like I'm less likely to let anything happen because I do have a
Right.
familial stake in this and not letting it kind of go to hell." So she's like fine. We see Ulf come across some anti-Rhaenyra graffiti,
Yes.
and he's
Yeah.
kind of still not getting a bunch of respect at the pub. Um, he's really playing it up because he's always felt like a nobody, and come to find out, he's handing out a bunch of favors under the queen's name. Like he's handing out
Yeah.
pardons like it's a Trump. So
Yeah.
yeah, so he just starts handing out favors, but we get to that in a little bit. So we basically, Hugh's family is pleading to Ormond about the soldiers' abuse, and we think he's handing out what seems to be justice at the moment. He says that the soldier, which I think somebody said that he was in Batman. Oh, the Batman. He was in the Batman. The one soldier was.
Oh.
Yes. what we see him, he says that the soldier should be gelded, which is basically have your nuts cut off and you're going to break your arm, which I'm sure he was probably like, I wish I would have just broke the arm.
He's like, but I have a wife. Sarah was like, you weren't thinking about that 20 minutes ago.
Right. He said that seemed to brush past your mind
Right.
while you were like sticking your hand up somebody's
Yeah.
skirt. But yeah, we think, oh my goodness, well, Ormond is a little severe, but he seems pretty just. So we then see Rhaenyra asking for all the communications between the throne and Ormond, or at least Old Town, where he was
Yes.
from, at the time. She wants to know how close are the Hightowers to the faith, because once again, he's a light of the seven,
Yeah.
fanatic. We find out later. Um, or while being, he's the only one that's I think really giving her like smart advice, because he's like, listen,
Agreed.
since we all know as watchers of Game of Thrones, we know what happens when you cross the septon and the light of
Yeah.
the seven. Orwell's like, just you might not want to cut the head off of the septon right now. You will create maybe a possible religious uprising in the
Yep.
town, and you're trying to settle things down, not look for more enemies. While like you're trying, let's not find enemies where there are none right at the moment,
Right.
but so
Yeah.
yeah.
That again, he's like you said, he's giving sound advice, but it's foreshadowing in a sense for the future
Sure.
of how powerful the church actually is. But
Right. That the church is
him,
always going to be a thorn in the side of the
yeah,
kingdom. Yes.
I
Yeah.
thought that
So
was a good scene.
it was very good. It was very good because he was like, because like even she was like, he didn't anoint me. And he's like, do you really need like you're here? Like what
Yeah.
else do you need? Like
You've got your dragons, you're
yeah,
in King's Landing, you're on the throne. Do you
don't
need
cause a
this guy's
ruckus.
validation?
Yeah, don't cause a ruckus. Like
Yeah.
please. Damon is at the Vale asking Lady Jane for money. This
Lady
great
Jane has
scene.
always been dripped out. I got like no matter what, not quite Daenerys level drip, but
Sure.
like every time I see her, I'm just like, you, oh, okay, all right. I'm like, I
Oh
respect
yes.
it.
Sitting there high up on her nice little high throne, petting her dog.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, and basically says, kind of bribes her, extorts her, whatever, to be like, if you really want me to go, just give me some money and I'll be out of
Yeah.
here. Like I'll stop berating you for not sending any soldiers, because she basically is kind of scolding him for, she's like, I asked for dragons, you sent me these infants. She's like, I should send you infants and we'll
That
call it
was
even.
funny. I got a good
So,
laugh out of that one.
so, so he goes to leave. He's on Caraxes. Caraxes is acting a fool.
Yes.
Sits down, and basically Caraxes is like, nope, we're going here, and ends up at the cave opening where Rhaena and Chief Stealer are.
Yes.
Um,
Also,
and
Damon yelling "serve me," which I know Dragon Riders yell that, but every time you hear them, whether it's Rhaena, whether it's Damon or whoever, it just reminds me and other viewers of the conversation from season one about
yes,
dragons.
yes, and that like even when Rhaenyra was telling Damon, like, my father said we shouldn't put too much stock in these animals, like it's a power that is above us that we can control. I mean, it's yeah. So once again, yes, him very saying like, again, you're shown very clearly at no point are they in control of these nuclear weapons, that they
Yes.
will do what they want to do at any given time.
Yep.
And Raina, but he finds out that it's Raina in the cave that was responsible for Jace's death. And basically she's become as unruly as Sheep Stealer now. She's like, y'all wanted me to have a dragon, y'all shame me for not having a dragon. Now that I have a dragon, that's
Yeah.
whatever, deuces. Like that's
Great acting by Matt Smith because this is one of the first times that we've really seen him not be confident. Like once he saw that it
sure.
was his daughter with a
Very
wild
panicky.
dragon, he was very panicky. And the only time we've really seen that from him was when he first went to Harrenhal and encountered the witch, and he was having the visions. I think that's really the only time you've seen him not be the coolest guy in the room.
Yeah,
It's
he's
like,
not confident at all.
yeah,
He's begging her. He's just like he's desperate. Like, oh, my one of my children is responsible for the death of my wife's child, and like I just like just come, we'll fix this. We'll
Yeah.
do, I mean, like he's desperate to make this connection with a child that she's clearly like, you didn't even pay attention to, like the
Right.
favorite of all of your kids, like.
It's
So
the
it was
first
like,
time we've interacted, and we're 3 seasons in.
right. I'm surprised you even know my name. But
Right.
yeah, yeah, no, I thought it was, you're right. It was a very good scene with him as far as his lack of confidence and not having the right answer at the moment, like not
Yeah.
knowing what to do until he sees a lonely little sheep herder down there and
Yeah.
says, "You know what? This
He
guy."
locks back in. The confidence is back.
That's right. He's like, "All right, I know what I'm gonna do," and
Yeah.
I we don't know at the moment, but we just see him looking at him like, and you see those Damon wheels turning.
Yep.
We find Ormond find out that Aegon won't be joining them. Not Aegon. Aemon won't be joining them, and pitches a fit. Darren
Yes.
knows apparently when he is becoming unhinged. I think kind of highlighting that there is semi abusive relationship there. Because he understands the signs. He,
Yes.
he basically whispers to the cupbearer, "You need to get out of here."
Yeah.
He's about to lose it. Yeah, it's a very toxic relationship between those two. Even he
Very.
backs up
Yeah.
after he backs up quite knowing that the sword's coming out and gonna be beaten on something or someone. So
Yeah.
yeah, yes, very is as controlled as he likes to present himself, he is very uncontrollable.
He's wound so tight that it's easy for him to snap, and you see
Yes.
it in that scene. You see it with his affection or affinity for the smells, which like he is wound very tight. And yeah, that scene, like you said, when he told the cupbearer to go, it's like, so clearly that cupbearer is not the first cupbearer. Like
Right.
there was probably another one, and
Yes. You
you're the
have
new
seen this.
one.
Yeah, you have seen this meltdown before, like,
Yeah.
yeah. We find out from kind of Orwell, Rhaenyra kind of finds out that Ormond is a loose cannon, that like,
Yes.
when he says that he was kind of operating Old Town as if it was a kingdom unto itself, which
Yeah.
again is a little bit of a clue of this man sees himself as a kingly figure and is wanting power.
Yeah.
Some like if he's operating Old Town as its own kingdom and that he wasn't even going to be answering to anybody, it doesn't really matter what anybody's saying, that Ormond's
Right.
going to do what Ormond wants to do. We have Ulf hanging out, gets further embarrassed by the queen. He's just a glutton for punishment. He has a fetish for humiliation.
Apparently,
um
every time he opens his mouth.
every time. And then he's like, "I'm not saying this, but other people are saying that you're kind of whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa." And she's like, "Listen, you need to stop going to pubs and handing out favors. You need to stop getting drunk and handing out, and speaking in my name and
In
doing
my name.
things,
Yeah.
because you're not an independent contractor anymore. Like I own you."
Yeah. When she said that, and obviously they've been dropping breadcrumbs and foreshadowing kind of like what's to come, but I think her saying, they stab you in your gut. It's not your gut. It's mine. And I've lost a dragon, right? I've lost a drag. Like, at no point did she made it clear she is not worried about his safety. She does not care about him. She's like, I own you. And if you get hurt, they're hurting me, not you bleeding out. It's me being hurt. Like,
Right.
that was the clear, like, Damon had kind of made it clear that he doesn't like him. And they both kind of rolled their eyes, but this was a very clear indication of like, you are nothing more than a warm body on a dragon to serve our purpose. Like, she laid her cards on the table right there, and I was like, well, okay.
You can't say you didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. So, well, like we discussed before, Aegon basically gets humiliated some more, kisses a poop boot, but we'll
Yeah.
just.
So he's doing whatever task he needs to do, getting the water or whatever with the maggots flying around, super gross. And then there's rationed food, and he is part of the group that, doesn't get to eat because there isn't enough food, which sucks, truly. But again, he snaps after being there for a day, 2 days max.
Maybe, right.
snaps on the guy in charge. And again, like you have zero situational awareness right now. You could have, probably should have died 6 times over. And because of your arrogance, ignorance, whatever, you're now kissing a poop boot, which,
Boot.
yeah,
Not a fan of the poop boot scene.
no,
No. So we then go back to, and Damon presents the head and gold to Rhaenyra and says, "Oh, hey, I solved both problems. We got a little bit of coin, and look, here's the guy that killed your son." And Rhaenyra is affected by it.
yes.
I think she expected, on one hand, to want. She says, like basically she had wanted him to be delivered to her so she could enact vengeance and a revenge against the writer. But I think she's also kind of like hollow when she realizes it didn't do anything for her, like seeing, okay, well, that's been taken out. And I think it weirds her out that she thinks at this moment that it's just some rando who could pick up a
It's a
dragon and,
nobody.
yeah, pick up a dragon and start flying it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's weirded out by it, and Masera is
She ain't
sus.
falling for it.
No, she is suspicious completely. She's just
Her
like,
and
really?
Damon's interaction the last 2 or 3 episodes, as little as it has been one of my favorite little side things because it's
Oh yeah.
pretty much just a big love triangle. But these two are both playing their own game, and while hers, in a sense, can be, I don't want to say more honorable, but I like her perspective because she is coming from the perspective of the common folk versus Damon, who's had a silver spoon his entire life. So you just see them butting heads, but it's yeah, I enjoy any scenes that those two are in the same room because it's not even just the dialogue, it's just the looks they give each
Oh yeah,
other.
they're consistently wanting to one up the other one. They always wanting
Yes.
to score points and dunk on the other one
Yes.
and be like, so when the one scene where he walks out of the room, to be with Rhaenyra and he gives her the smirk as he walks by. This time when he walks by, she, mutters something about basically not believing that,
Yeah.
like she's like, whose head is it really? And he just kind of just keeps walking. So she knows she's got him. So like they're
Yeah.
just consistently playing this game of tug of war over Rhaenyra's affections, and it's just
Yes.
hilarious to watch
I
them do
enjoy
it.
it.
Rhaenyra comes up with the suggestion of arming the folk, which I thought was a little not great.
Yeah.
Damon definitely wasn't happy with the choice because he wants the gold cloaks paid because they have
Yeah.
not been paid. I just thought it was a little odd. I mean, I know it's foreshadowing again to show, about the disenchantment the small folk are going to have with Rhaenyra as, her reign continues, her short reign continues. But yeah, arming them just seemed
It
odd.
seemed like they really jumped like they're trying to get from point A to point B just a little too quickly
Agreed.
because arming the townsfolk just seems like a
Especially
just a
when you're hearing that they're saying things about you.
yes, yes. We've now found out that they're writing graffiti things about you and doing all of this, and your
Right.
solution is to arm the townsfolk like that. And again, you can chalk it up to her being inexperienced or paranoid, whatever. But to me, I don't want to say lazy writing, but that came off as lazy to me.
Right. I would like to go back and listen to it because I think like there's a whole bunch of suggestions being thrown out at that time where she's kind of zoning out because the head's in front of her. I
Yeah,
don't know if the Lord Manderley or Orwell are debating on what to do with the money. But I would like to go back and watch it and see what the other suggestions were that came about that she just kind of brushed by.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so we see she goes to, she gives Alicent her father's ring. We see Alicent with Helena, who clearly is suspecting, we're all suspecting that Helena is pregnant again. And basically is like, we are now fearing for our lives again because you want to keep this baby you are now pregnant with. Like, do you not understand?
another error. Like,
Right. What are we doing here? Like, this is.
I know you want to be a mother and raise chickens and all, like, cool. And maybe one day you can, but like in this moment, in
Can we
this
get out of here
environment,
first?
yeah, you having a baby is just not great.
No, like I get that you lost a child, but can we get out of these walls and far, far away before you're like pregnant
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
So yeah. We see Hugh flying over Tumbleton. Like you get you're a firsthand witness to how much air these dragons let off when they fly over. Which
Yeah.
again, good to see because you're seeing the people on the ground floor dealing with what's happening in the sky.
Yeah.
So we see them moving. The people are panicking in the streets when they see the dragon because they don't know whose it is at the moment. Then we cut to the Gold Cloaks basically cracking down on all the dissenters and yanking people out of homes and telling them to scrub the walls and trying to force confessions out of people. So you have two now towns that she's kind of in charge of that are kind of slowly becoming unruly. Um, and then we get back to Ormond and Darren. And basically
Hmm.
Darren admits that he thinks the Targaryens are weird and he thinks that Darren needs to clamp down on that side of him. Like he's
Yeah.
like, your blood's tainted. Like we are the superior beings. And he kind of once again references what the Septon had told Rhaenyra earlier was that these dragons are a creation of dark magic. Like you created these things
An
and
abomination.
replaced us as the
Yeah.
superior beings, and we don't like it. What I do love is that Tessarion doesn't seem to like him either. Tessarion is Darren's dragon.
As soon as he walked in, he's like, "Oh, this guy," and he is snapping at him. It's funny that as much as he despise, because I think the first thing he says when he walks in, because Darren is talking to the dragon and bonding with it, is like, "I warned you about bonding with those creatures." Like he's established how he feels right off the bat, but it's also
Right.
funny, like, okay, so you hate them, you think they're an abomination, yada yada yada, but you're keeping it because you know having a nuke in your back pocket is helpful during a war. So
Yeah.
it's like you can't be sitting here talking about how much you hate the Target. Like, well, yes, the Targaryens is fine, but like you're hating on the dragons, hating on the Targaryens, and maybe you kept it alive because you knew if you killed it, Darren would maybe like break the like he wouldn't be a part of he wouldn't be your ward anymore. But I can't help but think you're also keeping it because it's a dragon.
Right. Because it's again, what we go back to when we were talking when you mentioned earlier about kind of lazy writing, it is a huge thing. I mean, like when we didn't know who Darren was and when he sends out the imposter to for Damon to just let him keep a dragon is
Yeah,
crazy. Now, did he think, oh
crazy.
well, if the dragon is riderless, how good is he? He's not gonna
Right.
he's master. But you still are letting the other side keep a dragon.
Yeah, you let them live, which again, I know you didn't want to do that, but you let them all live and you let them keep a dragon. You could have, yeah, taken it back and it could have lived in the dragon pit, something.
Something.
And regardless, if you think, oh yeah, there's no rider, so it's just it's just a creature at this point. It's no
Right.
different than a horse. But like, no,
No,
no, you would have
still a
like, yeah,
dragon.
yeah, still a dragon. There should have been a way, like have the dragon not be there. But again, I know that then turns into, well, if Darren's there, why isn't his dragon something? But
Right. Yeah.
Daemon, the Conqueror, being the one to look that dragon in the face and be like, all right, we got the boy, let's go, and not even
Right.
give it a second thought. Like, come on now.
Exactly. So basically, like we find out that Ormond he thinks it's his duty to get Darren on the throne to usurp the usurpers. Like
Yeah, just
he's
an
wanting,
endless
obviously,
circle.
yes, he's just wanting the power all for himself. He's wanting, because if he can get Darren on the throne, then that is an extension of himself that's on the throne, and nothing but good things can happen, right? If a light of the seven fanatic is, in charge of the kingdom.
Yeah,
Uh yeah. So then he has Hugh's wife's brother brought in, and this is when we find out that his idea of justice wasn't just what he lets the common folk know, that he
yep,
does this under cover of night in a little tunnel room with the dragon, and basically forces Darren to kill this brother because he's like Rhaenyra was explaining to Ulf that you're an extension of me. He says to Darren basically like, this guy slapped or hit one of your soldiers, and that's like hitting you in the face. So
Yeah.
you can't have that. We gotta clamp down. You've gotta be just, and you can see that Darren is struggling with it. Basically, Darren says, like, my father wouldn't have done that, and Ormond's like, your father was weak and he's a loser.
Yeah, yeah, that was the worst thing. He just talked about how much he hates the Targaryens, and then you say, "Well, my father wouldn't have done that." It's like that was the worst possible answer.
Darren, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
So yeah, he
the
ends
brother
up
should have requested a trial by seven. From what I understand, that's what he could have in that moment before they beheaded him. He could have requested a trial by seven.
right. I mean, that is what the gods would have wanted. But we basically see that Darren ends up taking the life. He ends up stabbing him. Ormond very callously wipes the blade on the body, and he says, has I don't know how he got to Sarian to cook the guy
I said the same thing. I said I didn't hear Dracarys. I didn't hear any of that, but all of a sudden he's cooking him.
and chomping on him because you can hear
And,
like
yeah,
he's
and chomp. And when the screen goes black, you hear the chomps.
the chomping noise. So, and he says, like, let like, it's time for us to begin, or let us begin. So he's clearly got his own desires, his own, he's steamrolling. He's got his own design, his own plan about how he sees all this going. And he has, just because the Greens do not have King's Landing anymore, he does not believe that the war is over. Once again, he does not believe the war is over. Kristen Cole doesn't believe the war is over. um
It's the second time, or maybe more, but that we've seen him, a character, on someone else's side, but doing their own motives. So like the Triarchy, they, got with the fleet and like, yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna help you guys, yada yada yada. And then when it came time to like stick to the plan, she was
right.
like, well, actually, I have a plan within a plan.
Right.
And that's what Orman's
A
doing.
concept of a plan.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's always these people in the green who are just keeping this
right.
fighting going, that it's like, it's not going to go so well. So yeah, I mean, like, overall thoughts, you're right. I think it's probably the weaker so far of the episodes. We
It's
do, like I
rated
said,
that way.
um
7.8 on IMDb.
yeah, and I can understand why. I do think the things that you do glean from the episode are important.
Yes.
They're just, obviously, people always are going to want fighting and action scenes. It's just the way it goes. And right now they're going to get tired of, I
The
think some people are
politicking.
upset that it's not following the book, but I mean, again, like, it's a very short part of the book, and it's like, you want, like, let it be an interpretation of the story. I just don't understand if the entire Fire and Blood, the history of the Targaryens, is an interpretation of their story. Let it just be another interpretation. Like,
Yeah.
just enjoy it for what it is. It's not everybody acting like everything that's written down in a book, acting like it is the gospel and not fiction that can be massaged and enjoyed and interpreted in different ways, is just weird to
It
me.
is extremely rare that any book, comic, whatever, gets a direct quote for quote, character for character adaptation on the big screen or small screen, whatever. Like, it is extremely rare that that happens. And I
Right,
understand why the readers might not like it, but I think at this point in the year of our Lord 2026, we should know by now that any book, comic, whatever, is probably not going to like like you said, it's going to be an interpretation. It is extremely rare that it follows the books, whatever, complete. Like it just things change, whether it's the
right,
studio's fault, whether they need to combine characters, trim the fat here. It's just enjoy the story, understand that it is not direct. Like I
right,
love The Lord of the Rings. I love the movies, I love the books. There's a huge chunk of the books that's missing, characters changed, added, whatever. And I can still appreciate it because it follows like the main story, but they had to change a few things. And I
right,
still love both of them.
right. This is a story about a civil war that includes dragons. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just the way it is, and that's what's going to be. And ultimately, there are things that they will consider, like, obviously Sunfire isn't dead, because when they showed Daemon having the visions of Daenerys, clearly they consider that canon. So in
Yeah,
order for Daenerys to be admitted as canon, then what you're admitting is that story that Joffrey tells Marjorie about Sunfire killing, spoiler alert, killing
yeah,
Rhaenyra in the episode. That is going to be in there too. Just let
yep,
them come to those events their own way. Like, it's,
exactly.
again, this can be a weak, it can be a weak episode. It doesn't mean it's a bad episode, just can be the weaker of them. It can
Yeah,
be because it's like kind of filler and we're just kind of moving towards another big battle, which clearly we are. You
yeah,
could even tell by the fact that the trailer was the next half of the season is this. Like,
yes,
we're showing you, like, we're kind of, now we've closed this chapter, now we're moving on to a new chapter for the rest of the season, and these are the things that are going to happen. So I don't have any problem with it. What
I
the
agree.
things that you like that we got out of it, as far as Ormond and his kind of his psyche, his relationship with Darren, and seeing the small folk deal with the fallout and the consequences of this war, I think, are the things that people should take away from this before we
Yeah,
move on to the second half. So
agreed.
that is my decision about it. I think we're gonna end that here. I know tomorrow we plan on recording about episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4 as far as X-Men 97 season 2.
Yes.
Really excited about that. That I think there's got to be 10 episodes in that, correct? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're
I'm
going to
excited
talk
for that.
about those. It's really good. I can understand why it came out straight out the gate with like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, or I whatever one it was, that it was rated really high as far as the reviews already coming. I can understand why. It's been a great series, but we will cover that tomorrow.
Yes.
But we'll leave that here, and yeah, can't wait to see what happens next week while I
Me
am
too.
in Boston.
Yes. Yes. You're gonna be traveling.
So we will leave that here, and we will talk to y'all later. Oh, I must hit the wrong button.